What happens when the government, the very institution meant to protect your future, begins rewriting the rules you've built your life around? What happens when the finance minister you trusted, the woman promising to protect your savings, turns around and misleads you? Welcome to the Rachel Reeves ISA scandal, a quiet betrayal with loud consequences. In today's episode, we peel back the layers of spin, promises, and selective truths to uncover what's really going on with Britain's individual savings accounts and how Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor-in-Waiting, just rocked the foundation of trust for millions of savers. But before we dive deep into this political firestorm, did you know that over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed to the channel? We totally get it, life gets busy and sometimes it's easy to forget. But here's the thing, subscribing is completely free, and it really helps us keep creating the content you enjoy. So why not hit that subscribe button and join our community? It only takes a second, but it makes a world of difference to us. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get into it. It all began with a whisper. Rachel Reeves stood before cameras with the poise of a seasoned economist and the ambition of a leader on the rise. She announced Labour's new economic plan, a vision for growth, discipline, and stability. But in the fine print of that vision, something was missing. She spoke glowingly of ISAs, the tax-free savings accounts used by over 12 million Britons, suggesting that Labour would keep the tax advantages and encourage saving. For millions of cautious savers, this felt like reassurance. But behind the scenes, it was something very different. Because as the markets paid close attention, and as voters felt comforted, Labour officials confirmed something shocking: Rachel Reeves wasn't pledging to protect ISA allowances at all. She had said a lot, but she hadn't promised the one thing that mattered most: preserving the full £20,000 annual allowance for tax-free savings. Her team quietly confirmed that everything would be under review. Here's where the deception gets sophisticated. Rachel Reeves didn't lie. She didn't promise and then break it. Instead, she used a well-worn tool of modern politics, strategic ambiguity. She implied she was protecting ISAs. She nodded to their importance. She gestured at their value. But she never actually said the words that millions of savers were waiting to hear. No guarantee. No numbers. No explicit policy. It was a performance of reassurance without the substance. A political move designed to win hearts, but not tie her hands. And in doing so, Reeves created a dangerous illusion that under Labour, your ISAs would be safe. Let's not forget what ISAs represent to everyday Britons. For young professionals, they're a disciplined savings tool. For families, they're a tax shelter against growing uncertainty. For retirees, they're a buffer between dignity and dependence. Tampering with ISAs, or even hinting at change, isn't just an economic decision. It's a direct hit to trust. And here's the kicker: Labour knows this. So why didn't Rachel Reeves just say clearly that ISAs are safe? Because, behind the scenes, Labour is facing a fiscal minefield. With rising debt, growing public service demands, and a base demanding fairness in taxation, everything is on the table, including ISAs. Let's zoom out. Labour under Starmer and Reeves wants to appear fiscally responsible, even conservative, to win over Middle England. But they also face a massive funding gap. They've ruled out raising income tax, national insurance, and VAT. So where will the money come from? That's where ISAs, pensions, inheritance, and capital gains come in. Labour's entire pitch is, we'll be responsible, but fair. And fairness, in their language, often means closing tax loopholes used by the wealthy. The problem? ISAs aren't just used by the wealthy. They're used by middle-class professionals, cautious savers, and everyday people trying to escape the grip of inflation. So Labour now stands at a crossroads. Cut spending and upset their base? Or quietly erode tax-free benefits and hope no one notices? After the backlash, Labour's media machine kicked in. Spokespeople insisted that nothing was decided, that ISAs remain valuable, and that encouraging saving is central to our plan. But note the language: still no commitment. Still no concrete policy. Just warm words without cold numbers. Rachel Reeves, who once built her brand on fiscal honesty, had now joined the elite club of political illusionists, those who reassure with one hand while preparing the scalpel with the other. Within days, financial analysts began warning clients. Don't assume your ISAs are safe under Labour. Investors quietly began shifting portfolios. Savers flooded financial forums with questions. And a dangerous new mood began to take root: distrust. For Labour, this was never supposed to happen. They wanted to appear competent, reliable, boring, even. But now, thanks to Reeves' ambiguous dance around the ISA question, they've lit a fire under one of the most politically sensitive sectors in Britain. Rachel Reeves may have thought she was being clever. But in the era of digital memory, voters don't forget. Clips of her ISA comments now circulate on social media. Economic commentators call it a red flag. Opposition parties are sharpening their knives. The Conservatives, despite their own record, now paint Labour as a threat to savers. Reform UK accuses Reeves of quiet class war. And Labour voters? They're confused, betrayed, worried. All of this could have been avoided with one sentence. Labour will protect the full £20,000 ISA allowance. Period. Instead, Reeves chose to hedge. To speak like a strategist, not a servant of the people. It's a choice that may haunt her in the months ahead. Because while the economy runs on policy, trust runs on clarity. And she gave none. The story isn't over. Labour still has time to clarify its position. Reeves may walk back the ambiguity and promise to protect ISAs fully. Or she may remain silent and let the uncertainty grow. But here's the reality. The damage is already done. Savers now view Labour with suspicion. The ISA question is no longer technical, it's emotional. And Rachel Reeves, the once stable face of Labour's economic plan, is now the centre of a brewing political storm. This isn't just a story about tax-free savings. It's a story about power. About language. About how modern politicians weaponize vagueness to stay flexible, even when clarity is what the public needs most. And Rachel Reeves, by trying to say everything and nothing at once, may have just reminded Britain of a painful truth. Politicians will promise anything until they're close to power. And then, they rewrite the rules. This has been Echo Britain, bringing you the full story, the real story, behind the headlines. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and of course, subscribe. Because we're just getting started.